تهیه و تنظیم در استودیو بیزرایز.
So guys, welcome back to the next video within Kaizen Cure. So we are going to talk about how to break out of your vicious loop. Now, the only way to break out of a downward spiral is to break the patterns currently causing them. So guys, you know, if you're in a downward spiral, and we've all been there, I know I've been there, you just have to break the patterns currently causing them. And that is very easy just to identify. Look, if you're having a tough time waking up early, what are the patterns causing them? Are you going to bed on time? Maybe you're having too much sugar before bed and you're feeling like shit when you wake up. Maybe you're not having enough water before bed. Whatever it may be. If you're having a tough time, you know, maybe you're looking at your phone before bed. Maybe you've got too much on your mind before bed, or maybe there's something that you're doing in the morning that is making it harder. Okay? The only way to break out of a downward spiral is to break the patterns currently causing them. Now, this is easier said than done. Otherwise, you already would have managed to do it. And today I want to discuss how to just break out of this vicious loop, break out of these patterns. And honestly, like, I would go as far to say it as whatever it is that you want to do in the world or accomplish, or habits you want to instill, do this and you'll be a success and it'll work. Like, this stuff is so freaking powerful. I'm so excited to share with you guys. Now, the crazy thing is your brain can't actually distinguish between what's reality and what's not. So, quick question for you guys. Have you ever woken up from a dream and you're sweating and your heart is beating? You know, has that ever happened to you guys where, you know, you wake up and you're just like in this pool of sweat, and like, I'm sure you've had it where, you know, maybe you're even just like in bed with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or even, you know, your friend, and their leg starts like shaking and they start like mumbling, or they start like, you know, they start having all these physical reactions to something that is not actually real and not actually happening. And that's the crazy thing about our brain, is our brain can trick us into believing that something that isn't real is real, and something that didn't actually happen happened. And this is how a lot of people can just straight up get brainwashed. Now, let me run you guys through a really interesting study, and I'm sure a lot of you guys must have heard of this, but there's an Australian psychologist, his name is Alan Richardson, and he made a little experiment. So basically what he did was he took a group of basketball players, divided them into 3 groups, and tested each player's ability to make free throws. So the first group would practice 20 minutes every day. The second group would only visualize themselves making free throws, but no real practice was allowed. And the third group, well, they wouldn't practice or visualize. Now, the results were astounding. So, as expected, the third group had, you know, zero improvement, but there was significant improvement on the group that only visualized, and they were actually almost as good as the guys who actually practiced. Now, I don't have the statistic up here, but basically, the group that did no practice and didn't visualize, obviously, they got 0% improvement. So the group that practiced 20 minutes every day between the beginning and the end of this experiment, they had a 24% improvement. So the second group, keep in mind, these guys never actually made free throws within this entire time. All they did was visualize. So the first group, as I said, people who are practicing 20 minutes every day, what they're doing is they're getting, you know, what they got was a 24% improvement. Now, the group that visualized, they got a 23% improvement. So only 1% off of the group that was, you know, in the trenches, throwing every single day, you know, getting this long list and this long, you know, getting a lot of experience under their belt and a lot of free throws under their belt. That same group only made a 1% improvement compared to the people that only visualize themselves making 3 free throws. Now, guys, this is really powerful stuff, because look, if I told you to run a marathon tomorrow, 99% of you guys simply wouldn't be able to do it. You know, it's just too hard. I wouldn't be able to run a marathon tomorrow, honestly. Now, the thing is, if I told you to visualize doing it, then most of you guys could. There's no way I could run a marathon tomorrow. But if you simply told me, Iman, I want you to sit down and I want you to visualize you running a marathon, I could do that. But remember what I said, our brain can't distinguish reality from, you know, imagination. So This is exactly how we're going to hack your mind for success. And as I said, guys, this is really powerful stuff. So when I realized this, my entire life changed forever. My entire paradigm of the world was shifted. My belief in what I could do completely changed after I realized this. And as I said, I realized that I could achieve anything because before physically doing it, I had already been successful at it 100 times already in my head. So guys, for most of you guys, waking up at 5 a.m. or making cold calls, it's just simply too hard to physically do. But what if you had the safety of doing it hundreds of times in your head? So look, for a lot of you guys, as I said, the idea of getting up and like making cold calls, or the idea of getting up and uninterrupted with your phone on airplane mode with just the task at hand, working for 60 minutes, for most of you guys, that's a tall order. That's hard. Don't worry about it. It's something you'll develop with discipline and develop with using this exercise right here. So as I said, a lot of you guys, it's too hard. But what if you had the safety of doing it hundreds of times in your mind? What if you had the safety of visualizing you waking up at 5 a.m. 100 times in your mind? What if you have the safety of visualizing making that, going through the meeting script and closing the meeting 100 times in your head? Or, running that webinar 100 times in your head? And so here's the issue. Where most people go wrong is that they visualize the result. Very few people visualize getting the action.
تهیه و تنظیم در استودیو بیزرایز.
Getting the action time and time again. And those that do conquer all. So most people will tell you to visualize, dude, just imagine when you visualize getting the Ferrari, visualize getting the, having the dope social circle, visualize this thing, visualize, like they make you visualize the result, but they never push you to visualize doing the action. Now guys, what is the result? The result is simply, what you get from the action that you put in. The output equals the input. So whatever actions you go out and you do, that is going to dictate what result you get. So rather than focusing on the result, why not focus on the action? And as I said, for most people, it's easy to, it's not that hard to go out and pick up a Ferrari when you've worked for it, or go pick up a Rolex when you worked for it. What is hard is imagining, what is hard is all the 5 a.m.s that you have to wake up. And once again, if you are genuinely a night owl, fine, fair enough. What is hard is the hundreds and thousands of cold calls that you have to do leading up to it, or the hundreds of hours you have to spend on your affiliate marketing business or your e-commerce business, whatever it may be, or the hundreds of hours you have to spend studying webinar presentations and doing live webinars and failing and fucking up. Like, that is the hard bit. Picking out a Rolex, that's pretty easy. That's pretty fun. I know I've been there. It's fun. What isn't fun is all of the months I had to spend before that, busting my ass, saying no to people when they wanted me to go out and club and party, because I knew I had a higher purpose. I was worth more. Okay, so that is the hard bit. So whatever it is that you are struggling with right now, maybe for a lot of you guys, your main struggle is when your friends ring you up and they go, dude, like, we're about to hit the club. You want to come? You've worked hard this weekend. Why don't you come get fucked up with us? Or we got a table, bro. Like it's going to be sick. For a lot of you guys, that might be your issue right now. I want you to visualize again and again in your head what it's going to be like when you say no. And here's a very key distinction as well. I don't want you to visualize it going well. I don't want you to visualize it being easy. So that's another thing that a lot of, these self-help people will do, is they'll tell you, just imagine all of this abundance and success coming to you with great ease and blah, blah, and blah, blah. Guys, that's fine. Fair enough. If they want to teach like that, but I'm just trying to give you the least watered down bullshit you can get. I'm trying to give you guys, unveil what is actually successful and what actually works. Not only for me, but all of my 7 and 8 figure mentors. Okay? This is the shit that works. Because as I said, cool, you visualized getting the fucking Ferrari in the house and stuff like that. But you never visualized the actions to get you there. So, as I said, if your issue is your friends are hitting you up and you don't know how to say no, or you're taking on too many meetings with just people who aren't really worth your time, I want you to visualize getting that call and you say no to your friend and your friend's like, the fuck, like, why not? And he even has like a go, or he or she has a go at you. But then at the end of the day, you still get the result, which is, look, I genuinely haven't gone out and I focus and I've stayed inside and I've focused on my business. Or I want you to visualize waking up at 5 a.m. to use that example. Waking up at 5 a.m., the alarm goes off, you get out of bed and it feels like you've been hit by a bus. I don't want you to visualize getting out of bed, jumping out of bed, you feel super amazing. Because guys, it's easy to execute on the days that you feel amazing. That is easy. What separates people is that, what separates the best of the best is the ones that, still crush it, still do what needs to be done on the days when they don't feel like it. So I want you to visualize, as I said, waking up at 5 a.m., but you feel like you've been hit by a bus and you're lightheaded, but you still find a way to get to the kitchen, drink a glass of water, and go to the gym, or whatever it is that your morning routine is. So I want you to visualize it being hard, but you still succeed, you still win. Okay, that is a very key distinction. Say right now health is your main focus. I want you to visualize it being 7 p.m., you've just had a long work day, and you get these intense cravings to order some Domino's or whatever it is. And I want you to like sit with that feeling, what that's going to feel like. What does that feel like in your mind? What does that feel like in your stomach? As I said, if we go back to the Last Judgment, Michelangelo, what is it going to feel like when all of that, like, all that shit is trying to hold you down? Go back to that feeling. And then I want you to visualize you moving past that and going, no, actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that. And, my best piece of advice for that is little baby steps. So I say just baby step yourself. So if you are, for example, when I wake up in the morning and I'm having a tough time, I go, okay, Iman, rather than going, okay, no, conquer the day, let's wake up at 5:30 and let's just freaking crush it. Instead, because I'm not in that space, that's too difficult for me to do at that current time when I'm having such a tough time getting out of bed. So instead, what I say to myself is like, Iman, just go drink a glass of water. If you're still feeling tired, go to bed. And once I have the glass of water, I go, okay, fine, you're still tired. Literally, just go look at your calendar and your to-do for the day and write down your affirmations. And if you're still feeling tired, go to bed. And then after that, I go, okay, you know what? Just put on your shoes. And if you're genuinely still feeling tired, you can go to bed. And that is baby stepping. Okay, so I want you to visualize things hard. I don't want you to visualize things when they're fucking easy, because that is, like, you shouldn't get props for that. Anyone can do that. I want you to visualize when they are hard, and I want you to visualize what is the self-dialogue that you are going to say to yourself to move past that. Okay? So guys, no more visualizing the results.
تهیه و تنظیم در استدیو بیشتری.
Right? We're going to write affirmations, and we're going to get into this later on. We'll write affirmations to solidify our belief that we can get the result. But I want you to visualize the actions that are going to get you to the result. Remember, confidence comes from competence. So it's hard to be confident in something when you don't believe you can take the actions to get there. Now, the reason we are hacking our mind when we do this is because, look, you can only wake up at 5 a.m. once a day. You're never going to get 5 a.m. more than once in a 24-hour window. But the cool thing is you can visualize 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 times. 100 times in one day, you can visualize waking up at 5 a.m. and what that is going to feel like, and maybe some of the internal struggles you're going to have when you go through that. That you can visualize 100 times. And the best part of it all is your brain cannot distinguish reality from just imagination. So now your brain has more reference points, more data points of you succeeding when you haven't physically done it, when you haven't done it in this current physical state that we're in. You've just done it in your mind. So guys, this is really, if you want to accomplish literally anything in life, this is the way you do it. You visualize the actions that are going to get you there. And you've done the action so many times in your brain, even when you don't feel like it, and you sit with that feeling, that when it comes to the point where you actually wake up at 5 a.m., you're like, shit, I've already done this like 724 times in my brain, I already know the feeling that I'm going to have, and I already know what to tell myself to push past this. So, guys, honestly, our mind is the playground for all of our deepest desires and dreams. So, this is the $1 million formula. This is the $100 million formula. This is the $1 billion formula. It's see, believe, achieve. Now, as I said, a lot of people, they try to teach you the achieve. And once again, as I said, I love teaching the tactics, the brass tacks. I love showing people how to build wildly profitable businesses, right? In a couple different facets. I love that. That is incredible to me. But at the end of the day, I've seen it after, as I said, being a mentor through my online programs, through coaching, and through actual live events to over 1,000 people. I've seen it at this point where like a person will just not achieve something they do not believe, and they will not believe something that they cannot see. So as I said, if we break this down, say your goal is to make $1 million. You will never make $1 million in a single year if you do not believe that you can do it. Now the issue is a lot of people at this point, like a lot of people neglect different stages of this. So at this point, someone will go, okay, well, you know what? All I got to focus on is believing, and maybe they'll write affirmations or stuff like that. But remember, confidence comes from competence. And when what you have to focus on is you have to see something before you can believe it, and you have to believe something before you can achieve it. So once again, let's just say making $1 million. In order to achieve making $1 million, you have to believe that you can make $1 million. Now, you will never believe that you can make $1 million until you see the path in which you can do it, until you see yourself doing it. And that is why this visualization is so important. And that's why before I try to achieve something ever, I need to follow this, this 3-step formula. So as I said, most people go wrong by focusing on achieving that which they do not yet believe is possible. Guys, I just see the stupidest fucking shit out there. I see some of the advice out there from entrepreneurs is just, it baffles my mind. They think that they can just hustle and grind their way there. Let me tell you something. You can get so fucking pumped up, watch as many fucking motivational videos as you want, go listen, go watch as many success videos as you want, all this shit. And by the way, all this stuff is incredible when you're just starting out. But if you want consistent growth and if you want to be in this game a long time, don't listen to that shit. Okay? So, you'll sit on your desk, you're super motivated, you're super pumped, and then you'll try to hustle and grind. And then 2 hours in, your subconscious goes, "What the fuck are you doing this for? I don't believe I can do any of this shit. Stop." And then you'll order Domino's, and then you'll watch another motivational video, and you'll repeat the entire process all over again. Or maybe you'll give up on the day and then try the process again tomorrow. The whole hustle grind process. Because the issue is you are trying to achieve something that you do not believe you can achieve. And the issue with that second part of the process, the belief thing, is like you cannot believe that which you cannot see. So if you try to bypass or skip this process, failure is almost inevitable. Okay? Failure is almost inevitable, or it will take you so long to succeed because you have to get so many little wins under your belt in the physical that like it's going to take you 10 years what it could have taken someone who followed this process and this system 2 years. And guys, let me tell you something. A lot of people go, "Iman, how have you had such quick success so quickly?" There's a lot of things. Investing in myself. I have fast growth financial vehicles, all of my businesses. But really the main thing that it's come down to is I put my ego aside. I know a lot of entrepreneurs, they look at this sort of like mindset stuff and they're like, "Oh, fuck this mindset stuff. Just give me the tactics." I never looked at it that way. I put my ego aside and I went, look, I'm going to get an energy coach. I'm going to get a meditation coach. I'm going to learn what the fuck is going on in my mind because my mind is dictating my actions and my actions are dictating my future. Okay? So really, as I said, you can bypass this process. You can just hustle and grind if you want. That's okay. If you want to do that, go for it. But if you want to get accelerated success like myself and the people that I've taught this to and the people that I learned this stuff from, just follow this process. Okay? Because as I said, someone who hustles and grinds, in a single day, they could have maybe made 100 cold calls.
تهیه و تنظیم در استدیو 20 رئیس.
right? Let's just using that as an example or as a metric. They could have made 100 cold calls and that's it because they only believe in the physical. But us, on the other hand, we're a bit more clever than that. What we're going to do is we're going to make 100 cold calls and then we're going to visualize making 300 more. So we've made 400 cold calls in a day when they've only made 100 cold calls in a day. Now your brain cannot tell the fucking difference. And the best part is you can play out scenarios in your mind that you may not be able to do in the physical. Okay, you can interrogate yourself and start asking yourself questions that you may not have faced in the physical yet. And then when they present themselves in the physical, you've already done it 23 times. You're good. Okay, so guys, as I said, please do not try to bypass or skip this process. So the first step of this process, as I said, is see. Now, from now on, you're going to place as much importance on your visualization as any other piece of work that you have. So all this will take is simply all this will take is humbleness and discipline. Humbleness that you're not above the process. As I said, humbleness that, you're not everything is just about hustle and grind and work. Guys, you need to work really fucking hard. Like that's inevitable. You got to have that under your belt, the ability to work your ass off if it comes to it. And nothing will ever, another issue I see with a lot of these sort of like self-help gurus and stuff like that is like, they're just like, just meditate and visualize and do your affirmations and good things will come to you. No, good things come to those who fucking work and go out there. But then also good things come to those who go out there and work, and they have the confidence and the belief that they're going to achieve that which they've set out to do. So, as I said, all this will take is discipline and humbleness. So, every night before you go to bed, visualize waking up in the morning, how you'll jump out of bed and how you'll crush your morning routine. Visualize the actions being successful, but it being hard. Once again, as I said, this is very, very key. So, I want you to visualize just using waking up in the morning. As I said, for you, if one of your challenges is something different, your friends, not being able to say no to your friends or whatever, then visualize that. Okay, but I want you, as I said, visualize waking up in the morning and you feel like you've been hit by a bus. And I want you to visualize the self-talk you're going to face or you're going to use to get yourself out of there. Okay? I want you to visualize the action being successful, but the process being hard, because that is realistic. Okay? Waking up early and jumping out of bed and putting your hands up and going, oh, like life's so great, I'm so excited. Like that's just not very realistic. Okay? Or like busting through 100 cold calls and you have a huge fucking smile on your face the entire way and you're living in bliss. That's just not very realistic. Okay? Guys, what we're doing with the mind here is we are preparing ourselves. This is the fucking training ground for the insane shit that life is going to throw your way. And we're going to be so much more prepared than our competition. And we're going to fucking crush our competition because we do this. So every night before you go to bed, you do this. And every day in the shower, I want you to visualize the month's goals and how you're going to succeed in the actions leading up to them. Is your goal to make 10K that month? I want you to visualize doing cold calls and them being tough, but you still succeeding. I want you to imagine the gatekeeper is a fucking prick to you, but you still manage to get to the decision maker and get to the meeting. If you are building out a webinar, I want you to imagine doing your first webinar live and it bombs, right? And it bombs, and then you go back and you refine it, and then it goes amazing, right? If you're building out some sort of product or your private labeling or whatever, imagine that there are a few issues that you encounter along the way. How are you going to keep your cool? How are you going to keep a level head? Okay? Repeat this process every day and you'll soon start to see how much easier it is to succeed in a task that were previously nearly impossible. Of course it's going to be easier. Your mind cannot tell the difference between reality and imagination. So it just thinks that you have succeeded again and again and again and again, and it uses that as a reference point. So step number 2 is the believe. So this is what I write in my journal every morning, and they're different affirmations I write. So I will easily make $2 million by 31st of December 2018. And I write that again and again. Or I will easily have 150,000 YouTube subscribers by 31st of 2018. Or I will easily meditate 5,000 minutes by 31st of December 2018. This is, I got this from Tony Robbins. It's just the style that he uses. And once again, when you write this down with pen and paper, this helps solidify your belief section. First of all, you visualizing the actions being successful so many times, that will already solidify your belief. But now we want to focus on the result, because we've already been successful in all the actions leading up to it. So now we just want to focus on the result and, just really getting a true, deep sense of confidence and belief that the result is going to work out. So, as I said, write down whatever it is that your goal is. So I will easily, what is the goal and by what date? Okay. Man is what he believes, by Anton Chekhov, fellow Russian, I'm assuming. But, man is simply what he believes. The funny thing is, in this life, and we're going to discuss this later on in the program, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you think you deserve. Because the funny thing is, what you think you deserve will dictate the actions that you take in the present. And obviously the actions that you take in the present or execute on in the present, that will define your future. So you don't get what you think you deserve. You don't get what you actually deserve. You get what you think you deserve, because what you think you deserve dictates the actions you take, and the actions you take is what you actually end up getting. So it's crazy, and I wish, as I said, from the bottom of my heart, I wish more people brought more light to this. And this is why I'm so passionate about what I'm teaching in this program, because this is literally going to be the most life-changing thing for I think for 90% of you. Look, for 10% of you guys, maybe you're going into this and, you have, maybe there is someone like me who has spent, tens of thousands of dollars on meditation and energy coaches. Maybe there are some of you guys like that out there. And maybe for some of you guys, this is just a brush up. But I think for maybe 99% of you guys, this is stuff that you will never have been exposed to. No other entrepreneur would have ever talked about it. And, this is going to be the most life-changing stuff you've ever learned. Okay? So, yeah, hopefully you can just hear my voice, how freaking excited I am about this. So, affirmations bring things into the physical and help you solidify the second stage of the process, belief. So use the template. I will easily goal by end date. Now, there are a bunch of different ways you can do this. I actually use the 5-minute journal and I do this as a part of my morning routine. Now, the 5-minute journal also has the first 2 things are like 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 things that will make today great, and then also affirmations. So I like to do those 3 in the morning. Now you can pick up the 5-minute journal on Amazon. I think it's like $20-25 or something like that. In the UK, I'm in the UK. It's also on Amazon. I bought it. It was like £20. So I just like that. I think it'll last you like half a year or a year. Like it'll last you a long time. So I just use that personally. Now, then we get on to achieve. Okay, so success is inevitable now. Like, guys, I really want you to understand that if you solidify this visualization stage and this affirmation stage, the see and the believe, like, success is inevitable. Like, I genuinely do not see a way that if you have practiced in the confines of your mind the actions necessary to succeed that many times, and you have done your affirmations and you see the road to success, and you've experienced success and you've experienced the trials and the tribulations in the road to success so many times in your head, that you will fail. I just do not see that as possible. I know that every single thing that I've ever tried, that I use this process to, and I only learned this process and solidified this process maybe a year ago. I know that after working with such high-level coaches that taught me and exposed me to this sort of stuff, and after learning from people in so many different areas and facets, when I know a lot of entrepreneurs, they just stick to, how do I make more money? What extra tactics can I learn? So as I said, success is inevitable now. Once you follow these 2 processes, success is inevitable. So just go out and take the actions that you've already done hundreds of times in your head, and just go out and achieve that which you believe so strongly at this point. So guys, as I said, I want to congratulate you, because you've just achieved the first step in the Kaizen cure. Literally, I wish I could put into words how life-changing this stuff is, and why this is the thing that separates the 6, the 7, and the 8-figure entrepreneurs from just the rest. So I will see you in the next module, guys.
تهیه و تنظیم در استودیو بیزرایز.